Hello and welcome to the Prevailer. My name is Pastor Moses. This is the Prevailer. As always, you will not get out of here with nothing. There's something for you. God bless you so much. Welcome to the show. Today with us is Pastor Omore mwenyewe. He's right here, ako kwa nyumba.
Wow.
And we bless the name of the Lord for
Amen.
him. So, Pasi,
Hey,
here we are.
Santi,
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. I'm really honored.
Pastor Omore in the house.
Wow, I'm really honored.
I've read much about you.
Wow.
Nikakusikia ukiongea na matini.
Wow.
You know, I was so encouraged. In fact, there was a time when I nasikia story yako, nikaona some clips, nikasema,
Wow.
this is the guy I want to have in this show.
I'm honored. I'm really honored. I'm humbled.
And I'm really happy to have you today, Pasi.
Amen.
When I called you, I didn't know you'd really accept and come.
Wow.
And I really want to thank God for you.
Amen.
You are such a humble servant of God.
Amen.
And for you to come to such a show like this,
Wow.
we feel honored.
Amen. This is awesome.
We really feel honored.
Amen. Amen.
And we bless the Lord.
Wow. Nashukuru.
So, Pasi, probably people are wondering, who is this Pastor Omore?
Wow.
Maybe you can tell us about yourself a bit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, I'm George.
Yes.
George Omore Kabaselleh, born again. I'm a pastor by calling.
Amen.
I serve with Kenya Assemblies of God.
Yes.
Ruai, we call it Home Church Christian Fellowship in Ruai.
Home Church.
Yeah. And I'm married to one woman, Julia Wamboi Omore, and I've got two daughters by the grace of God, Sifa and Uzima. I would say by pastor by calling, as in, I wouldn't call it a profession, because there are some things I do. Apart from just being a pastor, there's some things I do, probably professionally. But calling is, I never thought I would be a pastor at some point. When I look back at my life and where I am today, I compare them and I say I was called to be a pastor. But I've answered the call. And Kiangalia, when I look back where I was and what I'm doing today for God, they're two different lives. So I consider that as a calling. God gave me a privilege. I asked God before I got born again. It's a long story, probably I'll share it, but I asked God, why have you kept me alive? He said, I've kept you alive so that you may serve me.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Wow.
And we'll come to know how you've been kept alive. You share with us that story.
Yeah.
And again, I just heard your wife is said Wamboi.
Wamboi, wow.
Wamboi.
Yeah.
And you are...
I'm Luo.
You're
Omore, yeah.
Cross culture.
Yeah. And I really, by the way, I am. We are out to fight tribalism.
Amen.
Intertribal marriages work. I've been married for the past 16 years. We always say, we first live as Christians, then Kenyans, then our tribes, because we're not our tribes by mistake. I'm Luo not by mistake, and she's Kikuyu not by mistake. So we take our advantages. Ananisaidia kutafuta pesa, na mimi namsaidia kutumia. Sijasema kuiba, kutafuta. So akinichanua ways of... Kikuyus are very aggressive, that's a fact.
Yes.
They are very aggressive and they do stuff. Yeah. So she will always give me the idea how to be aggressive, but I'll show him how to use money. Luos, we live a day at a time. We know how to spend, or rather. My dad was, he passed on. He passed on way back 1998. He was a musician, Omore Kabaselleh. Omore Kabaselleh, Omore Kabaselleh, and he was doing Benga music. Yes. We grew up we are a very musical family. We grew up around music, and probably I would say that almost it played a big part in my life. Yes. The musical life, the outgoing club life. Yeah, because my dad was a musician, so I worked with him for some while. Yeah.
I just want you to share your life story a bit. Tell us how you maybe grew up. I know it might be very long. The show might not be enough. Those who want to reach you probably reach you later.
Yeah.
And speak to them one-on-one, counseling and such like things.
Wow.
But I just want you to give us a sneak preview
Wow.
of your life passing.
Wow. I've been brought in Nairobi. I've lived my life in Nairobi. I was born in Jericho way back. By the way, I'm 48. In a couple of months, I'll be 49. So fourth floor. I'm reaching the fifth floor very soon. I grew up way back in Eastlands, early 70s. So we grew up in Jericho, and people say that ukizaliwa Eastlands, there's nothing good can come out of Eastlands. Like when you grow up in Jericho, at some point utakuwa muizi. Ukizaliwa Kariobangi, you'll be a thug. Those are just cultural script, community script. But somehow I lived that script. So I grew up in a very harsh environment. Not at harsh as in poverty, but harsh as in rough. I can remember when I was in class 1, way back 78. And I would come home, find my dad doing practice together with their Congolese friends. And they're doing musical practice, they are taking some whiskey. So I would ask them, they would ask me, I would ask them, what is this? And they would say, unataka kuonja. And I would get a sip. So they would enjoy when I unakunywa ile whiskey ni kali, nafanya. So they would enjoy the squeaking of when I grim back. They will enjoy seeing me doing that. So at some point I would say, like Mswahili sema, mtoto mleavyo ndivyo akuavyo. So I grew up in a very open environment without no strict regulations. Yeah, I found booze in the house. I found so many stuff in the house. So my school life wasn't all that smart. I wasn't smart in class. I can proudly say that because I believe that failure is not a person. Failure is an event. Failure is not a person. Failure is an event. Failure is not an inborn trait.
You got that? Did you hear that? Failure is not a person. Failure is an event.
It's an event.
They get it right.
Failure is an occurrence. It's an event. It's an incident.
It happens once.
Yeah. And so we don't live there. So I failed my exams. I failed my school life. I wasn't smart. I wasn't good in class. Went to from secondary. Imagine in 4 years. In 4 years, I went like 3 schools. Then I nafukuzwa, go to this one nafukuzwa, then eventually namaliza. The first year from 1, I joined in 3rd term. Nilingia 3rd term from 1, just some school. So my school life wasn't all that good. It was pathetic. And I eventually did my O-levels way back 89. I never passed. I got an E for excellence. I got an E for excellence. So I did E for excellence. And I really ask people, even though I failed my exam, do I look like a failure? Or obvious people will say, no, I don't talk like a failure. I don't live like a failure.
With all this English?
Yes, I got an E for excellence. I never So what I learned that don't lean on your failures. Learn from your failures and move on. I never leaned on my E. It was in their papers that I got an E. I failed my exam. But God, my creator, is too smart not to create a failure.
True.
So in school, I got involved in... So in secondary school, because I never went to good schools and reputable schools, so at that point is where I got involved in probably drugs. Yeah, hapo sasa ndio nikaanza kutumia probably smoking cigarettes. I did cigarettes slowly. I started doing marijuana, bangi. Nikaanza kunywa chang'aa. So after school, I was already doing drugs, but soft drugs, not hardcore drugs. That was chang'aa, cigara, miraa, probably bangi. So after school, I got involved deeply because I had nothing to do. And apparently my dad was in jail when I was in secondary school. He was a political prisoner. So when I did my O-levels, at the same time he was being released from prison. So we joined hands and we like started working together. So he was clubbing. So I was like his manager. Mimi ndo nasimama kwa mlango nachukua pesa. Those days club zilikuwa unalipa kwa mlango. So I was the cashier. Na we used to mi akicheka muziki mimi niko kwa mlango nachukua pesa. And it exposed me to violence. It exposed me to club life, nightlife. Like
ulikuwa unasimamaje kwa mlango? Unajua mlango unakuwa mabouncer.
Sasa kuna mabouncer wawili, mimi ndio cashier.
Wewe ni cashier.
Bouncer ndio wako pale kama watatu, but I'm the cashier. So mimi nachika pesa. And at some point, for example, I can remember some incident in Isili. There's a club in Isili, lakini sasa haiko. There's a club in Isili. So there's some guys wanakuja kuingia bila kulipa. And it creates a scenario where we started a fight. It comes up to be so violent. And apparently my dad will put down his guitar and come join me. We fight that situation. Tunapigana mpaka hiyo hali inakuwa, alafu anarudi kwa stage kuimba. Kukishatulia. So I got used to violence at a very early age. I see. Club violence is a very bad life. So I got involved in violence at a very early age. And as time went by, we fell off with my dad because of now I got involved in hard drugs. Now kwa napenda. So to sustain my drug line, I had to look for ways to survive. So I always say drugs and crime are conjoined twins. You can never separate crime and drugs. If you get involved in crime, in drugs, at some point, at some level, whether you like it or not, you'll get involved into crime.
Why is that?
Because there's a way you have to sustain your drug line. There is no way you'll get a decent living, a decent work to sustain your drug line, to sustain yourself. So definitely nobody will employ you. You're a drug addict. Nobody will employ you. You can't work. You can't do anything.
So
you have to steal. Now the ways of getting money is definitely stealing. And it starts slowly. Unaanza tu pole pole, you'll steal this, like what is there, what is around you. Before you get out to what is outside you, you'll steal what is around you. Utaiba vitu zile unapata hapo kwa nyumba. Pole pole tu utaiba. So ula encourage wazazi, ukipata vitu zinapotea kwa nyumba, don't assume. Unapata kijiko imepotea, don't assume. So ilianza na vitu zile ziko kwa the things that are around me, the easy things. I will steal their speakers, microphones za mzee, we fell out.
Hizo mlikuwa mnaenda nazo clubbing.
Zero tunaenda clubbing. So we fell out because I used to steal wires, a guitar, a few things, speakers, the things that are around me. So kabla jue, we fell out completely. Kwa sababu ninaiba na nahepa. So we fell out. So my relationship with my parents started going down. Ikaanza tu kwenda chini. My relationship with my parents went down, level 0. Because now I became an outcast. So nikaanza live a very background life. Ukishakuwa mwizi unakuwa ukishakuwa mwizi lazima ukue I would say this, you become an environmental hazard. Environmental hazard is like you are always in the background, you're never around, you're never anywhere. You don't do the normal stuff people do. So you become an outcast. So as time went by, nikakuwa involved in hard drugs, which is very, very bad and sad. Slowly by slowly. Funny enough, like people never know. Your nervous system, when you start using something, your nervous system becomes stronger. Siku ya kwanza you will take a joint ya bangi stick moja inakushika mchana mzima. But as time went by unavuta hata 10 haikusaidii.
That's when unaanza kuingia
addiction. So you don't use, you abuse. There's use and abuse. So use ni ya kwamba unatumia but you don't use it again unless ishe kwa kichwa.
So basi wewe ulikuwa unatumia ama ulikuwa na abuse?
Mimi nilikuwa na abuse. Kwa sababu siku ya kwanza unatumia lakini hautumii tena, unatumia. So hiyo steam inaweza kuingia kwa mwili na itisha. Now you don't some of them have medicinal value. But we don't use the medicinal value, we just use it. Like heroin, unaitumia tu.
KAG Sacco. Welcome na karibu sana to the KAG Sacco. KAG Sacco was registered on 18th May 2006 under the Cooperative Societies Act of 2004. Its main objective is to organize and promote the welfare and economic interest of its members. It derives its mandate from the Cooperative Societies Act 2004 and its bylaws. Our vision as KAG Sacco is to be the leading faith-based Sacco in provision of quality financial services to members. Our mission to promote the socio-economic welfare of KAG members and related institutions through savings mobilization, offering affordable financial services and enhancing the agenda of KAG Church. We have the Sacco forms for membership available for every pastor and member of our church. Take this opportunity and use it to grow into a great member of our church. When looking for borrowing to develop, we urge you to look nowhere else but KAG Sacco. It is ours. Save regularly, borrow wisely, and repay promptly for us to develop together. KAG Sacco, tunaimarisha na kuboresha maisha. KAG Sacco.
So, Pasi, before we went for that short break,
Wow.
you were telling us something like you already joined, umeingia kwa drugs, umetumia hard drugs, umekuwa na fallout na mapero, amko kitu kimoja sasa.
Yeah.
And then ukaanza sasa kupinch kuwa obtainer kutoka kwa hao. Unajua siku hizi nasikia wanaitwa obtainer. Waweza kuobtain kutoka kwa hao. Wow. Sasa kuliendaje basi?
So, unajua this time unaiba za nyumba zile ziko karibu, and as time goes by you go out. So, nikakuwa naiba zile za nje. So wizi ya nje. You steal things in the estate. Magari, miguu kwa magari, unaiba miguu kwa estate. Zile miguu za gari, zile wasi wanapaka kwa estate. Asubuhi wanapata magari zimelala na tumbo. Umetoa miguu usiku mliana.
Unapiga jeki, unatoa miguu.
Si hakuna jeki, mnafungua tu miguu shwa. Alafu mnainua, mtu anatoa. Si mko vijana kama 4.
Hapo naacha
inaanguka chini. Inalala chini.
Ile itainuka.
Ile ingine ikinuka haraka. Alafu sasa mnafanya hivi, mkifungua hii na sisemi ndio hivyo ndio wale wako nyumbani wafanye. Unafungua hii ikianguka ile ya pale inaanguka, yani vice versa. Vice versa. Vice versa. Ile na alarm unaijack. Alarm za siku hizo si kama za saa hii. So alarms those were so analog. So when you lift up the car, you jack it down in a clip alarm. So alarm siku hizi mjani digital. Siku hizi ni digital, ziko na laser, ziko na nini. So siku hizi zilikuwa analog sana. So you jack the car in a disabled there. So we'll steal stuff, nguo kwa kamba, ndugu ziko na maji, you become petty, unanyonga watu kwa barabara, unajua? Kwanza ile hapa Outer Ring Road, kabla mchainisa bomoe, pale maribara, train inapita chini. That was a kazone, way back. Kwa nyongea watu pale, it was, now at some point crime became very, very dangerous. Kwa sababu it's not all days are good. Kuna siku mnaenda bwana, vitu zinakuwa mbaya. Mnageukiwa, mnapigwa. Mimi nilishapigwa mara kadhaa. Mob. Mnapigwa, bombi na kwa against you. The first time I was beaten mob, just ilikuwa ni town. Tulikuwa nafanya pickpocketing. We used to do drugs, zile junkies, teva. So hizi junkies ni za kupatia, for example, they are given to mtu akona mental illness. The doctor will give that guy like 1 tablet per day. And we will take 10 at a go. So when you take 10 at a go, unakuwa zombie. So your adrenaline you don't feel anything.
Unapigwa
uko tu umeyoyoma, we call it kuyoyoma. So hauna uoga, like mchana unafuatilia kibeti ya mama kwa streets. Unazanganya mtu broad daylight, watu wanaona unazanganya mtu kibeti. Na ndio slow, hata ukiweza kufukuza ukimbii. unashikwa, nilipigwa hapo town Kencom. Tuko nafuata watu wanaenda kulipa mabili Kenyatta Hospital. So there's hakukuwa na queuing, there's no queuing. Atipanga line. Mnakimbilia KBS nyinyi wote. So ile kukimbilia mnaibia watu. So apparently mimi nilipatikana kwa moja, nilipigwa. But kwa sababu ilikuwa ni crowd, there's no nani complainant ayuko. Nikahepa tu akaniwacha. And a few incidents here and there, so nikapigwa na watchman huko tu town. Now, so crime at some point became very, very dangerous.